Hey, what is up YouTube? It's Terrence and I'm back with another video. Today we're going to be doing some compositing inside DaVinci Resolve and Blender. We'll be doing the tracking in DaVinci Resolve, sending the data over to Blender, add the 3D stuff, and then send it back to Fusion for compositing and rendering. We're going to be using the footage that you see here on screen with the camels. Let's drag this over into DaVinci Resolve and change the frame rate and drag it onto our timeline. I got this footage from pexels.com. I'm going to leave a link so you can download this exact same footage and follow along. First, select your footage, come here to File and go to Media Management. I'm going to choose a location for my file. Then I'm going to do Selected Media Pool Clips. I'm going to hit Relink to New Files, select Transcode. And here under Video, I'm going to leave it at QuickTime. I'm going to do DNxHR, do DNxHR HQ. If you're on Mac or Linux, I recommend using ProRes. I'm going to keep the resolution the same. Use a constant bitrate. You can hit render at source resolution. Hit start. That converts the footage to MOV and then links it back to your project. Let's go in Fusion. I'm going to add a camera tracker node, CTRA. I'm going to put this in viewer 1. I'm going to show auto track locations. And I'm going to turn down the minimum feature separation, kind of like that. The detection threshold, you can play around with this value until you find something that you like. I'm going to hit bidirectional tracking. As you can see here, it's creating points on the people and the shadows and the stuff that are going to be moving in the scene. This is going to throw your track off, so we're going to create a mask to mask these things out. I'm going to drag on a polygon mask right here. I'm not going to connect it yet though, because if I do, my footage is going to disappear. So I'm just going to do a quick mask. See, it goes down right here. Holding the Alt key, dragging, you can drag the entire mask. Yeah, I think that works. That covers everyone throughout the shot. And here you can see the person that's holding the camera, their camel's nose, I think, gets caught in the shot right here. So I'm going to create another mask real quick. Draw a quick mask around the camel's nose, just right here. That covers that. I'm going to connect the two masks together. Go over here, drag them down here and connect it to the camera tracker. I'm going to connect it to the track mask, like that. If we go back to the camera tracker, you'll see that the mask is only affecting the people, and we want it to affect the entire scene. We'll come to polygon 1, I'm going to hit invert. And then I'm going to come here to polygon 2 and set it to subtract. There we go. If we come back to our camera tracker, you'll see that everything but the people are getting tracking points. It's going to hit auto track and leave resolve to do its thing. Once that is done, we got a lot of tracking points. Just going to come here to solve. Hit solve. And now we wait. On my PC, it takes a few minutes. I'm not sure why. My solve is finally complete. Took a while. It actually went to 0 and then back to 98%, and then finally completing maybe 5 minutes later. You can see that we have a solve error of 1.4 pixels. That is not very good. See, maximum solve error, let's do 1 pixel, right? Just leave those at default. I'm going to select the satisfying filters and I'm going to hit delete and I'm going to hit solve once more. All right, now it's complete. And you can see that we have a way better solve error of 0.2589, and that is below 1 pixel, so that is pretty fine for me. I'm okay with that. Let's go over to the export tab so we can create a 3D scene. Go 3D scene transform. We're going to hit unaligned right here. I'm going to grab some of these. Let's grab some of these tracking points. That's the tracking points that are on the ground. That way we can tell Fusion that, hey, this where it says orientation, it's set from selection. Then I'm going to select a few right here. I'm going to hit origin. So this is our origin and these are on the ground. Let's set it back to aligned. That's necessary. And then we're going to hit export. Now we got our 3D scene exported right here. We got our camera, we got our point cloud, ground plane, the merge, and we've got this render. So let's have a look at this in viewer 1. Got our ground plane. Sadly, we didn't get any of the tracking points on the pyramids. You can go ahead and track again if you like. But see here, we got our scene. It's looking good. I'm just gonna make some reference points real quick. Let's put merge 3D over here as well. I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna go to camera and set it to camera 3D. That way we can see the tracking points on the camera. Alright, so I'm gonna grab some of the points right here. I want to place my 3D object somewhere in this region. And I can see that these are the points. In Blender, you don't get the point clouds whenever you send the scene over. So I'm gonna do is drag in a 3D object. I'm gonna connect it here. Let's just make this a cube. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. So let's bring it out right out here. This point right here seems to be on the pyramid, which is right here. I'm just gonna create some points of reference. Duplicate the shape 3D. Connect this one right here. I'm gonna move this over. Just gonna push it all the way out here. Let's just increase the size so I know that this right here is roughly the location of the pyramid. Now we're ready to send this over to Blender. Type FBX, get our FBX exporter right here. We're gonna name this file pyramid. We're gonna drag our merge 3D into the FBX exporter right here. Disconnect from your media out, go to Fusion and render all savers. Now let's go over to Blender. We're gonna hit A, X, just delete everything from our scene. File menu, import FBX. Here we got our pyramid FBX. We're gonna hit import FBX. And here we go. We got our camera. It's got the keyframes. Just go over the scene right here and select that camera as our main camera. So try this down here. Now you notice that the footage and the camera doesn't line up properly. That is because the camera's focal length is off. Let's hop back into DaVinci Resolve and go to our camera tracker. And here over on the soft tab, you'll see a focal length is 31.51 millimeters. Gonna go back to Blender, select the camera, go here under camera. And now it matches up 100%. We're gonna go ahead and delete this backplate right here. Select our camera again. We're gonna go background images, just add image, hit open. We're gonna browse to our MOV file, hit open. We have our video, it's gonna set the frames to 155. Just look in the way that it should. Let's turn up the opacity.
One more thing.
The scene is not at the real world size, so let's fix this. I'm gonna hide the ground plane for now. To get the real world size or something close to it, what I like to do is using a reference. So here I have this Loba model from the game Apex Legends. Just gonna go to File, Import, Wavefront OBJ. You can find models of humans online to make this a bit easier for yourself. Browse to the folder here. I'm gonna select Loba model. And now that we have it imported, if I should hit N on the keyboard and go to item right here, you'll see that Loba on the y-axis is roughly 5 feet 8 inches tall, right? So this scene is way too small. I want to turn Loba off, turn everything back on. I'm going to go to empty, add a plane axis. I'm going to hit A, select everything. Let's deselect the axis by holding the control key. I'm going to reselect it by holding shift and select. And I hit control P and do object. So now everything is parented from the exact center of the scene. So now if I scale this, it'll scale the entire scene. The Loba is not attached to this, so if I turn Loba on and I scale the scene up, we can see her getting smaller in the camera view. Let's just hide the ground plane for now. Grab our empty. Let's continue scaling. Now if everything disappears, it's just the clipping for the camera. Select the camera, go to clip end, and just increase the value. Put it like 9999. That should be good. So now, this Loba is still a bit too tall. You can see she towers over the guys in the scene. Let's move her over a little bit closer on the y-axis right there. Grab this, scale the scene, continue to scale it. And then that looks about real world size to me. I should move her over, maybe even a little more. That's close enough. I'm comfortable with that. Let's just move this out on the Y. And if things are cutting off in the scene as well, it's just a clipping once more. I'm going to go to view, and here where it says clip, I'm going to set that to 9999. There we can see a lot more from the scene. So now we're ready to start adding in our 3D objects. I got the Sketchfab plugin installed, and I'm going to use it to import this 3D spaceship model from Sketchfab. You should get this plugin, it's really dope. Let's set the ground plane to a shadow catcher. Let's go here. Under visibility, we're going to hit shadow catcher. Over here on the camera view, I'm going to hit rendered. And I'm also using cycles. Since we're still seeing the ground plane, we're going to come over here to the render settings. Under film, I'm going to hit transparent. Now we can see reflections on the ground, so let's go here. It's got a Fong shader by default coming over from DaVinci Resolve. I'm going to delete that. Let's add a new shader. Let's give it some color. Let's just give it the color of the ground. Why not? And then let's turn the roughness all the way up because we don't need any reflections. I'm going to grab the spaceship. Let's move it up. The sky. I'm going to hide these. I'm going to hide this. Don't need to see those anymore. I'm going to shift A, and I'm going to add a light sun. Got a sun in the scene. Got a shadow pointing straight down. So let's rotate it over to the side like that. And I should have kept the Lobo model because this would have helped a lot. Let's re-import Lobo real quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move the Lobo model a little bit closer to this camera right here. And use it as a reference for the sunlight. So I need the sun over like that some more, and then I need to rotate the sun a little bit like that. But I think that works. Let's just hide Logo this time around, not delete her. I'm gonna grab the spaceship. I'm gonna scale it up to a humongous size, something kind of like that. Got it in our scene. Rotate it on the Z-axis a little bit. I will still need other lights in the scene to make the shot look a bit more convincing. So I'm going to grab an HDRI. I'm going to come here to the world settings. Going to hit where it says color. I'm going to hit this little icon. Go to environment texture. Going to hit open and browse to where they're located on my PC and hit open. Now our spaceship is looking nice and bright. We got some more shadows and stuff in the scene. Her shadow is now a bit off. So to fix this, just open up our shader editor. Let's head it to world. Here I'm just going to hit Control T so we can get the mapping and the texture coordinate. I'm going to rotate on the Z-axis. Let's rotate until the shadows are back in the right direction. I'm going to turn the strength down for this HDR. I don't want it to be too overpowering, so let's try. I'm settling on 0.4. All right, let's rejoin these areas. Disable Loba. Just gonna go back to solid mode right here. For this, I'm gonna go here, and where it says viewport display, I'm gonna set this to wire. Just adding an empty to control the spaceship. I'm gonna select the spaceship, select this, Control P, and object parent. And now this controls our spaceship. I mean, it's no Disney animation for sure, but I think it works. Let's go back to render right here. I'm gonna take motion blur. Let's do a quick render and see what it looks like. I'm gonna drop my shutter speed to 0.34. Render that again. I think I'll work with that. Now I want to shape this terrain just a little bit because you can see our ground plane kind of goes off in the sky up here. So I'm gonna hit edit mode. And scrub the camera a little bit. See if it works. Now it's time to get to rendering. I'm going to come here under view layer, and I'm simply selecting the shadow catcher. This is a really simple composite. Let's go to our output here. I'm going to select EXR multilayer. Let's go half float. I'm going to render this at 85%. Then I can scale it up later on because the footage is kind of soft, so instead of blurring it later on, I can just render at a lower resolution. Save me some render time. Let's hit render animation, our render is now finished and we have all of these files. Select everything, drag it over into Fusion. Come over here to layer, and I'm gonna hit composite combined. There we go. I'm just gonna duplicate it, select layer, shadow catcher. So here we got our shadow catcher, and here we got our composite. Now if you do EXR like I did here, it might look a bit dark as you're seeing here. So I'm gonna put down a gamut node, GMT, to select redivide, post multiply, that is necessary. And for the output space, I'm gonna go to sRGB. There we go. I can merge it over my scene here, and we got our spaceship taking off. Let's drag this up a little bit, get our shadow catcher here. It's gonna merge this over the background. You can see that the sizes are off. Like I said before, let's do a resize node, which is going to be 1920 by 1080 by default. Let's put one here as well. Now we're gonna set this merge right here to multiply, and then we got our shadow on the ground. Let's just turn the blend down a little bit so it matches with the scene's other shadows. We can maybe even put down a color corrector. Go to options, pre-divide, post multiply. Drag this over a little bit more to the orange tone, kind of like that. I'm gonna put down a color corrector node right here as well. Again, pre-divide, post multiply. I'm just gonna decrease the contrast a little bit, kind of create a little bit of haze. There are other ways to do this, but for this quick video, I think this works just fine. Then as the ship is flying off, I'm gonna put a keyframe on the contrast right here. Down there, I'm gonna drag the contrast down even more so it kind of looks more hazy. Like I said, there are better ways to do this, but for this quick tutorial, that works just fine. Bring that all the way down. Then it's gone off screen. So got our spaceship, it's in the shot, it's ready to take off. There we go, boom, it's gone. One issue here, you can see that we have the shadow above the people that are in our scene. We're gonna have to use some mask right here to get this fixed. I'm gonna do a quick cutout. This is gonna be a little bit annoying, but it's gonna be worth it in the end. All right, we got all our masks right here tracking through the shot. We created 3 different masks to capture everything. Just gonna connect them all together and look at them in viewer 1. So for the first one, I'm gonna hit invert. We can see everything but what's in the mask. For the second one, I'm gonna hit subtract, so it's subtracting. And this one right here, it's gonna be adding back that tiny piece right there. So let's go here real quick, get connected here. All right, so this is looking good. Now usually you'd get more advanced right here. You would add dust and fire effects from the ship taking off, maybe even heat distortion and stuff like that, but that's for a whole lot of other video. This is a quick compositing tutorial. I'm gonna go ahead and connect this to the output right here. I'm gonna jump back over to the edit page, and now we got our shot completed. Let's go here to render cache and set that to smart so you can render out the scene. And now we can play back our scene in real time. Just one thing that I'm gonna add here really quickly. Let's add an adjustment clip right at this frame. I'm gonna do a search for shake. Here under open effects, I'm gonna drag on a camera shake. Let's open up our inspector. Let's add motion blur. So here I'm gonna put a keyframe on the motion scale. Once the ship is off screen, like right here, maybe you can have it go down to 0. Something like that. I can see you got some black bars here. There should be an option to fix that. Border type, let's set that to reflect. So now we see no black bars. So put that on repeat. Now I put a neat little shot that we tracked. Right, there we go. This is a quick little compositing tutorial. We did some tracking inside of DaVinci Resolve, sent it over to Blender for the 3D stuff, sent it back here for the final composite. It's nothing too complex, it's nothing too accurate, but it works. It was fast and it gets the job done. If you like what you're seeing here, please give this video a like and subscribe. Let me know what you'd like to see in a future video. It's Terrence and I'm out. Peace.